Good morning. Welcome to Time in His Word. Got a question for you this morning. Are you volunteering your time at your local church? And another question I have is, we're told to tithe monetarily 10%, but how many of us are giving of our time at the church? In other words, for instance, our church has a huge yard that needs mowed every week. I don't, because I run the road, I don't know how that's taken care of. I know on Sundays when I show up, the yard's been mowed. I don't know if that they pay an outside service. If not, there's something you can do if you enjoy mowing, is mow the church house. When dinners are put together, they always need volunteers to serve, to prepare the meal and to serve the meal. You can give of your time that way. I know our church has an outreach program to a halfway house that's the next town south of us. Besides needing food to donate for that, they also need people to help serve. So while it's important to give monetarily to the church, giving of your time can be just as important, if not more important. So again, are you giving of your time at the church? Malachi, the 3rd chapter, this is the last book in the Old Testament. Verse 8 says this: Will a man rob God? You are robbing me, but you say, how have we robbed you? In tithes and offerings. I had a preacher telling me one time that while it's true we need to give of our offer, our money, our to the church, giving of our time is just as equal, if not more important. Because he said, how are programs going to be developed and implemented if nobody volunteers their time to do them? The church can't pay to have everything done. Then there'll be no money. So giving of your time to the church is so important. But it's an easy thing to do. It's just a matter of us as an individual carving out some time to give to the church. Maybe you're not for sure what you want to do. Just get with the preacher or a committee that you know of in the church and tell them, hey, next time you guys are doing something, I'd like to volunteer to see if I want to do this more often. There's nothing wrong with that. You can bounce around a couple different things going on in the church to find your niche, as it is. Verse 10 says this: Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, so that there may be food in my house, and test me now in this, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out on you blessings until it overflows. Did you catch that one little phrase in this verse? It says, and test me now in this. He's telling us, God is telling us to test him on this. Now, if you're like me, I'm not too sure about testing or challenging God. I mean, after all, he's the God of the universe. What do I know to challenge him? But I always gathered from this verse that he's telling me, or he's telling us, to challenge him on our giving. In other words, to see if you can outgive God. Can't be done. We know that. But I think what the point they're trying to make, and that's what I've always taken out of this, is that give of your time as well as give of your money to the church. As I said before, programs run on volunteers. With no volunteers, the programs don't work. And I know, depending on where you're at in life, having time to volunteer at the church can be rather difficult, especially if you're a young couple with young children. There's just not a lot of time in the day to do anything other than taking care of your family and your kids. But as you get older and your kids leave the house and it's just you and your spouse, now you have the time to share at the church. And I've noticed over the years, it seems the older generation do a lot of the volunteering in that. And I think that's twofold. It gives them something to do. It gives them a purpose of being somewhere. But more importantly, they're serving the Lord that they love and want to serve. So if you've got a few minutes today, think about different ways that you can serve. Take take and serve in the church and volunteer your time. And if you're not for sure, just get a hold of the preacher or one of the committee members and find out and tell them, hey, I've got a few hours next week. Is there something I can do to volunteer here at the church? But remember, God said to test him on this, he'll open the floodgates with an outpouring. If you're expecting monetary gain, it's not going to happen. But you can expect so many more blessings in such other ways. Just think about that. What are you doing with your time that you're not utilizing and just sitting and watching the television?